Hi guys, here's the video that I promised you to kind of explain the activity that I'd like you to work on today at home. This is what the assignment looks like in Canvas. I'm going to be posting the video that I'm making right here. This is the handout that you're going to be filling out, that I'm going to be explaining how to hand out. So you might want to click on that and print that out before you watch the rest of this video. And then when you're done filling out your handout, you're going to click here and enter some information on a Google form for me. Okay, so this is referred to as the sunflower activity, and this is what the handout looks like that you're going to print out. This is the front. It has 2 boxes on it. You're going to be filling in 10 boxes here and 10 boxes here and calculating averages down here. This is what the back side looks like. You're going to fill in 10 boxes here and calculate an average here. And then over here on the right are the number of plants in each of the plots for Sunflower Farmer's Field. So I'm going to walk you through that now, but that's just what the handout looks like. I'm not collecting the handout, just keep it handy so that when we come back to class on Thursday, we're going to kind of fill in this information down at the bottom together. Okay, so this is an activity that's in the book. It's about a farmer who grows sunflowers for making sunflower oil, and she has her field arranged in a grid pattern, 10 rows and 10 columns, and I'll show you the picture on the next page. There are some irrigation ditches that run along the top and the bottom of the field. That's going to be important for us when we get to Thursday's class. And she wants to estimate the number of healthy plants in the field so she knows how much money she'll make from selling them. So she doesn't obviously have time to go and count all the plants in all 100 squares, so she wants you to calculate an estimate of the number of plants just using a sample of 10 squares. So we're going to look at 3 different methods. Yesterday in class we talked about the simple random sample. We're also going to talk Thursday about some samples that are called stratified random samples, and I'm going to show you how to actually do those on your calculator, and then I'll explain a little more about them in class on Thursday. So this, what you see up here, is the same thing that you see. This is the grid that you can see on the back of the handout, and you'll see here that we have 10 columns and 10 rows, so we have 100 plots altogether. The yields of the sunflowers are shown in each plot. So this first plot up here would have 106 plants in it. This plot here would have 98 plants in it, so on and so forth. So you're going to be using this data from which to sample 10 plots in a couple of different ways. Okay, this I'm describing is on the front of your handout, and it's the simple random sample. It's on the top left of the front page of the handout is this box right here that you're going to be filling in. So what I would like you to do is first decide how you want to number these plants over here. So for instance, we have 100 plots here. So when I did it, I labeled these 10 plots going across the first row as 1 through 10. And then I did 11 through 20 on the second row, and then 21 through 30, just so they have them all numbered all the way up to 100. It does not matter how you decide to number them. You could go down the columns as well, so you could call these plots 1 through 10, these plots 11 through 20, these plots 21 through 30, so on and so forth. So you decide how you're going to do that. It doesn't matter. And then use your calculator to choose 10, just 10 of these. So to do that, we're going to use this command that we learned yesterday. You're going to go into your math button, over to the right to PRB, and then choose randint. Your lower value will be 1, because that'll be your first plot. Your upper is 100 because you have 10 plots and you're choosing 10. Just make sure when you do that, those 10 numbers have no repeats in them. And then once you have those 10 numbers in your calculator, here's what you're going to do. So say you chose the number 1 as one of your 10 values. So the number 1 would be this plot right here, this 106. So you would take this 106 and write it right here in this top block. And that would be just one of your samples. Say that your next one was maybe a 12. So if you numbered going down the columns, here's plots 1 through 10, here's plot 11, here's plot 12. So this 102 that you see here would be the next plot that you would choose. You would write that 102 right over here where it sits in this grid at B2. So that would be the next one. So you're doing that just so that when I look at your work, I can see that you've done a simple random sample. So you're going to have 10 boxes over here filled in with the values from over here based upon which 10 you've selected. Once you have those 10 filled in over here, you can then put those 10 numbers into your calculator and calculate X bar, or the average of those 10. And this X bar that you get down here is one of the numbers that you're going to transfer onto the Google form. So that would be just for the first box, that simple random sample. Okay, then next to that you have the stratified random sample by row showing up on your handout. And for that one, it's going to be a little bit easier because you don't have to number everything 1 to 100. You're just choosing out of 10 things now. So when you're choosing just 10 things, you could do randint 1, 10, and it'll spit back one particular number for you. And what you're doing there is you're choosing a number for each row. So let's just say we did randint 1, 10 on your calculator and we got a 7. So that would mean in this first row, so rows go across like this, you would want the 7th plot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You would want this value from G1 if your calculator fed you a 7. So in G1 you would record 108, which is the value over here that's in G1. Then when you do that again for your calculator, because we're going to do this 10 times, let's see, maybe you got a 3 the next time you did it. So you would go down to the second row and over 1, 2, 3, and you would enter in the value for C2, which from over here is 103. So that would be sitting right there. Then you continue down along, you do that 10 times, so you should end up with just one yield plot in each row. So when I look at your work on Thursday, I'll know if you did this correctly and understood the directions, because you could only have one plot filled in for each row. Then when you have those 10 numbers here, you put those in your calculator, calculate the average, and you're going to enter this in SRS by row in the Google form. Then on the back of the handout, it's looking for an SRS by column. This is very similar to what you just did. However, each time you do randint this time, you're going to do it for a column at a time. So this time, let's just pretend maybe we got a 5 on our first choice. So in this first column, which columns go down this way, if our first report from the calculator doing randint were a 5, we would come to this first column and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We would want the value from A5. So the value from A5 over here is 98. We would report that 98 right here in this box. Lost my words for a minute, sorry. And let's do it again. So randint 1, 10, let's say we got a 3. So then we move over to this next column and we would go down 1, 2, 3, and now we want the yield from B3. So B3 is right here. It's 99. You would report that 99 right here. Once you do that 10 times so that you would have one yield from each column, you report your average here as X bar. Then you're going to go to the Google form linked on Canvas. Oh, be sure whenever you calculate your averages, you round to the nearest 0.5. That'll make our dot plot easier. So if you get an average of like 50.2, you would round that down to 50. but if you got an average of 50.6, you would round it down to 50.5. So you always go to the closest 0.5. I'll show you what the Google form looks like as well. But once I have all of that data from you, we can then finish this bottom piece. This is the bottom of the handout, which we will do together in class on Thursday. So let me show you what the form looks like. This is what it looks like. You're just going to put in your last name, your first name, what class period you're in, and then these three averages, your value using the SRS, using stratified by row, and stratified by column. It goes in the order in which you did them on your worksheet. It's really important that you enter the right numbers in the right places, so please pay close attention to that for the by row and the by column. And then you just click submit down here. Okay, so this is all I need from you is for you to fill in this Google form when you're done. You do not have to submit the handout at all, okay? If you're confused at all or if any of that was unclear, just email me. I'm here all day on Wednesday. So have a good day. Take it easy.